I recently got a comment from one of you guys to backtest a strategy on the 1 minute time frame. The creator of the strategy, Kyril Anwar, says that it works well on forex pairs, so let's actually backtest this strategy on Kiwi Yen 1 minute chart with an initial account size set at $1,000 with 2% risk of our account per trade and 1 to 1.5 risk reward ratio. This strategy consists of 3 indicators, and now let's go ahead and add them to our chart. For the first indicator, we will select 1 minute scalping system, this one by Gustavo Ruby. For the second indicator, let's search for ATR stop loss finder. This indicator by VeryFid. And finally, let's add Williams percentage. So Williams percentage by this creator right here. Okay, now we need to adjust these indicators. So let's first double click on this 1 minute scalping and change the inputs. So the trend length period is going to be changed from 100 to 88. We will also change the style, so let's change the both colors for the second bar to yellow. And we're only going to leave these 3 options checked. Okay, now let's customize the ATR stop loss finder. First, let's get rid of these tables as we don't need them. And we're going to change the ATR multiplier from 1.5 to 0.85. Also, let's untick this option. We're not going to change the settings on a Williams indicator, we're just going to leave them on a default. Okay, now let's understand the rules for this strategy. Okay, we're only going to be looking to buy if we have the following criteria met. So first, the baseline has to be colored in green. The whole body of the candle has to be above the line. The Williams percentage has to issue a new buy signal where the yellow line crosses above the blue line. And the last condition will be to have our trigger candlestick colored in green. If the Williams percentage issues a new buy signal but the candlestick is still yellow, we're going to have to wait for a green candlestick. Okay, so we see all our conditions are met and this is going to be our trigger candlestick. So we will place a buy order at the close of our trigger candlestick. Our stop loss will be set at the ATR band. And we're going to be targeting 1.5 times the risk. So I already see the idea behind this strategy. First, we want to identify the direction of the trend, and this baseline helps us a lot. And the reason we need to have the whole body of the candlestick being above the baseline is to avoid the range in market. I think this Williams indicator is pretty good, however we do see that sometimes it issues quite a lot of false signals. So in the second part of this video, I will try to improve the strategy by potentially replacing this indicator. So stay tuned for that. Exactly opposite rules apply for shorts, so we're only going to be looking to sell if the line is red color. The whole body of the candlestick has to be below the line. The Williams percentage indicator has to issue a new sell signal where the blue line crosses the yellow line upwards. And lastly, our trigger candlestick has to be colored in red. Okay, here we see we've got all our conditions met, and this is going to be our trigger candlestick. So we're going to place a sell order at the close of our trigger candlestick. Our stop loss will be set at the upper ATR band. And we're going to be targeting 1.5 times the risk. Okay, I want to give you a couple more examples where you wouldn't have entered a trade. So even though we see the line is green color and the Williams issued a new buy signal, the candlestick is not fully above the baseline. So we're just going to ignore this signal. Also here we see the line is red color, the body of the candlestick is below the line, and we had a new signal to sell. But we see we didn't get any red candlesticks during this short signal. So we're gonna have to wait for a new one. And this is where we had a new one, but this signal was not valid because the body of the candlestick wasn't below the line. This short signal was definitely valid because we see all our requirements were met. Okay, I hope you have understood the rules for this strategy. So let's actually do our backtesting and see how well it performs in different market conditions. Okay, so I just finished the backtesting, and as we can see, the strategy is pretty good. Our win rate is 51%, and we increased our account size by 67.79%. And because we were backtesting the strategy on a 1 minute time frame, I found those 100 setups within 3 days. I know these numbers will be different when trading live because of high spreads and fees, but if we can make at least half of that, that would be like 10% gains on our account per day. The drawdowns aren't that significant. We see the equity curve looks pretty stable, and the profit factor for the strategy is 1.56, and we had 7 consecutive wins against 5 consecutive losses. But I still believe we can improve this strategy, so in the second part of this video, I'm going to be doing exactly that. Okay, so as I said, this Williams percentage issues quite a lot of fake signals, so we're going to replace it by other indicator, which is called ADX. This one by Beikabu Oyaji. Okay, now we need to make some minor adjustments. So first, let's get rid of this ADX and this 20 level. Okay, the strategy is complete. Let's get into the trading rules. So the rules are pretty much the same in terms of the baseline and the position of our trigger candlesticks. So we're only going to be looking to buy if we have the baseline colored in green. The whole body of the candlestick has to be above the baseline. The ADX has to issue a new buy signal where the green line crosses the red line upwards. And our trigger candlestick has to be colored in green. The money management rules will stay the same. You can notice right away that this indicator issues way less signals, but those signals are more accurate. Exactly opposite is true for shorts. We're only going to be looking to sell if the line is red color. The body of the candlestick has to be below the line. The ADX has to issue a new short signal, and our trigger candlestick has to be red color. Also, there is a very important exception I want to point out in terms of the entry rules. So if we have a new bullish signal issued by the ADX indicator and the candlestick is colored in green and it's above the line, but the line hasn't cut up yet, so it's red color, we're gonna have to wait for the candlestick to fully close before we can enter the trade. And if the line turns green on the very next candlestick, we're gonna have to take that position. Obviously, we're not going to be waiting for the second candlestick to close. Also, take a look at how well our strategy is eliminating losses when the market is moving sideways. We see none of these signals were valid because they didn't meet the requirements. And as soon as the price started trending, we see we had a valid long entry. You can also try to use a different money management where you don't have to cap your profits like that. Also, take a look at all these fake signals. They all have been eliminated, but we did have a good short entry right there. We see the ADX just issued a new short signal, but the line was colored in green. And at the very next candlestick, the line turned red. So we would have entered a short trade somewhere here. Also, take a look at this bullish signal right here. We see it wasn't confirmed because we didn't have any green candlesticks during this long signal. But the very next long signal was definitely confirmed. Okay, I hope you have a full understanding of how to trade with this strategy. So let's actually do our second backtesting and see if the results are any different. Okay, so I just finished the backtesting and I'm really shocked with these results. Our win rate is 75% and we increased our account size by 453.92%. And I found those 100 setups within 9 days. So this is literally my #1 strategy on the channel so far. Just like I mentioned in my first backtesting, these results will be different when trading live. But again, if we could make at least half of that, that would be absolutely insane. The profit factor is 4.5 and we had 12 consecutive wins against 4 consecutive losses. So yeah, this strategy is truly amazing and I think no one else would share such a strategy for free on YouTube. And the only thing I'm asking in return is for you to spend 1 second of your time and like this video, as it helps with the channel a lot. Okay, so we see in terms of win rate, this strategy is on its second place, but in terms of account growth, it's definitely my number one, because none of other strategies could quadruple your account in just 9 days. Also, if you have any strategies or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment down below.